I think first and foremost, even regardless of whether or not we're out in the woods or not, it's learning how to be just authentic and genuine with people. And I think the environment can augment, can make an experience more. It can magnify it. It can make it more potent. And I think one of the best places probably to do that, to amplify that, would be out in nature. So around here it's a little loud, but when we're out, there's no cars, there's no hum of the city. You may or may not hear an occasional plane, but for the most part, you hear the wind, you hear maybe a little babbling stream going by, you hear a bird chirping, and then there's nothing. And that nothing is the stage for the relationship, which again is just amplified through the environment. So the question is, sometimes I get lost in the question. I forget it. I apologize, but remind me again.
It's just a question that nobody ever asks. How do we do this work well? What matters?
Okay. All right, I will keep that in mind.
Think of those students that you work with. How do you get them to connect with that environment?
I think one of the ways that I've found effective is for me to be comfortable in that environment, to show them that the environment can be inhabited. It can be, it's not a harsh obstacle to be overcome. Rather, it's a beautiful place that's running parallel with you that you can learn how to walk in harmony with. And by showing them different ways to interact that make their life a little bit more comfortable, a little bit similar to what they left behind in coming out there, like how to make a softer bed, how to fluff up a stone, and how to make a warmer shelter, how to get a good night's sleep, how to find water and feel comfortable in ways of finding that, how to find different types of food that is there as the grocery store. Requires a little bit more work, but I think of the kid out there that comes to us and he's upset at his parents, and he's upset at the world. He's upset at us because we represent the parents and the authority. And I notice that the birds are starting to fly a little bit low, the flying ants are coming out, and the clouds are starting to gather a little bit and get a really red sky. I tell them I think it might rain tonight, and it would be wise to set up a shelter. And he says, "F you," because that's what they say. And I say, "Okay." You know what I do? I set up my shelter, and I have invited him to also do so. But when the night falls and the lights go out, I tuck myself in and I go to sleep. And in between the lightning flashes and the thunder, I can see him out there laying like this, freezing as the rain is pelting him down about 2:30 in the morning. And almost every time, never fails, he wakes up, if he even went to sleep, a lot more humble kid. and it was something that I didn't have to do, something I didn't have to impose upon him. And I teach him from that point, again in an invitation way, not in a forceful way, and with a low head and no bravado. I saw you got wet last night. I could teach you how to stay dry if you'd like. I could help you make a shelter tonight, because it's probably going to rain tonight too. We're in monsoon season, and I'll probably get, which means yes, in pissed off kid speak. And from there, I talked to him about a lot of the different animals that we have just around that area, and how they're in the same environment like we are. You can't raise your fist at the storm and say, "You will not rain on me." You can, but she rains on us anyway. And so it's not a matter of stopping the storm, it's learning how to coexist. How can I stay dry, notwithstanding the wet is coming down? And I talked to them about how the little burrowing squirrels and other animals, how they make a shelter that's out of the convection currents, that is something that is insulated, that can trap in their own body radiation, their own body heat, and how they can stay warm and dry, notwithstanding we've got a torrential rain going on. And so teaching them in a nonchalant, friendly way that I would want to be taught, not with somebody who comes in with conceit or arrogance or my crap don't stink and I can, eat crickets and they're still alive, and I can whittle my finger if I wanted to. I'm not. That doesn't work with them, and it certainly wouldn't work with me. It's more teaching them practical ways to live in harmony out in the elements. And
teach us a practical way. You mentioned making a soft bed. What might you do to have a soft bed?
Well, location is the first thing. I've made many water beds that weren't water beds when I went to bed, which have taught me that surveying the land is helpful. Like, for example, this little wash right here, it's got some soft sand. It seemed like it'd be the ideal place, and it would normally, but on that off chance that a midnight storm comes, it turns into a water bed, and water beds suck at 2:30 in the morning when you weren't expecting one. So finding a nice piece of ground that maybe has an escarpment or something on the side, something that blocks, if you go up against a cliff, or you can tuck into a nice tree that's got a limb that's already pushed down. It's not a matter of tearing down the whole forest to make myself a shelter. It's a matter of spending some of that time that I've used to tear down the forest to make shelter to find spots where the forest has already made an inhabitable spot, and kind of just embellishing it a little bit. One is thermal regulation out in the elements. We don't really think about that until we're out here, but what I'd liken it to is the old station wagon that Dad used to drive us around in, and the heater's broken, so it's always going. It's not broken, not working, it's always running. So the way that you keep yourself cool in a hot summer day is you roll down all the four windows and you drive. And vice versa, on a cold winter day, the way you stay warm is you roll up those four windows. And those four windows of thermal regulation are convection, conduction, evaporation, and radiation. And so convection is basically this breeze. We're constantly radiating heat, and we got these fancy hairs. If we went back further enough in history, Cro-Magnon might have had a little bit more hair, and a bird certainly, when it gets cold, it goes like this and fluffs up its hair, and it traps its dead airspace, which can really insulate well. Our hairs are not that good, so especially if there's a breeze that's blowing by, it will take that radiated heat away from us. So we have to block the radiation or the convection and trap in that radiation. So those are two windows that we're rolling up. Conduction is when we're sitting on the ground. It's not that my butt gets cold because the earth is forcing cold into my butt. It is my butt is trying to heat the world, and I'm losing a lot of heat because my radiators can't keep up with heat in the world. So stopping conduction is just creating a kind of insulative barrier between you and the earth that you're sleeping on. And the evaporation, we don't mess with that much unless we're in the summertime, and that's a way of rolling down a window in our body. So I tell them, if you're wanting to sleep warm, you got to roll up the windows. You got to make sure that you're out of the convection currents, that you're not conducting heat into the earth, that you're being able to trap in that radiant heat that your body's putting out, and don't mess with the evaporation as much in the wintertime. But vice versa, if it's in the summertime, we get that shirt wet. We don't drink our piss. We piss on our shirt, and put it on our head or put it on our back and cool our body down. It doesn't make any sense to put waste back into our body. And I see some survival TV gurus or so-called gurus that talk about drinking their own piss for psychological stamina. No. Anyway, it's just teaching them how to be comfortable, and the best way is to model me being comfortable myself.
The Primitivus project is made possible by the generous sponsorship of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. Wingate Wilderness Therapy is a premier wilderness therapy program for troubled teens and young adults that offers hope and healing. Designed for both troubled teens and young adults, Wingate offers two distinctly separate wilderness programs addressing the needs of two very different age groups. Wingate operates from the understanding that change comes from the inside out, not the outside in. To learn more about Wingate, visit wingatewilderness-therapy.com or call 1-800-560-1599. Please subscribe to this channel to ensure you don't miss any episodes of the project. New videos will be loaded every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Please like the videos and share them with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the trail.